Hey guys, welcome to another guide. We're going to talk about the sub-rogues in Mythic Plus today. In this guide here, I'll cover most of the basics, how you're going to play, a few tips and tricks, stats, talents, and generally what you want to be using of stuff, also called the build. So kick back, relax, and enjoy the video, guys. Alrighty guys, before we get too much into the video here, if you like and enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. It helps out tremendously here with the algorithm and promoting the video. And you'll get notified whenever we do more cool videos like this one, or vlogs, or IRL, or hardware related things, just gaming. Also check out the live stream over on twitch.tv/killerchris. I stream over there pretty often. Links to that and my other social medias in the description below. Alrighty guys, yes, so now I want to go over some of the more important items, that is the trinkets and gems and stuff you want to keep an eye on. So some of the things that are really good and important for your character is gems. And I'm not talking about the regular stat gems. You want to make sure you have the gems from the raid. There is 3 gems, one of each color: a unholy, a frost, and a blood gem. That does increase your damage. For example, the frost gem does a percentage extra damage to a target for 20 seconds after you first hit it. So you get a bit extra burst. You have the blood gem, which gives you a percentage extra damage after you have 50% more health in percentages than your target. So it's a bit of an execute if you're fully health. Then we have the unholy gem. The unholy gem is just a stacking debuff on the tires that makes you do more damage to them. Those 3 gems combined adds a significant damage increase to your Mythic Plus, especially because the frost and blood gem are really effective in Mythic Plus. And the unholy gem stacks up like this here anyway, so you get a lot of value out of those gems. I'd almost say they're more important for the Mythic Plus dungeons than they are for the raid. However, you won't be able to use the set bonuses in Mythic Plus, so you only take the gems that you need. The rest, you can just throw out. The speed and the shielding ones, don't bother using them. Then there's the trinkets. Ideally, you want to be using File of Petrification and Salvage Fusion Amplifiers. Those are the 2 best trinkets, and try and get them as high as you can. I know the file farm can be struggling. Other than that, you want to make sure, try if you can, if you're lucky, try and get a Sylvanas dagger. You have a lot of combo points flying everywhere, and it's gonna do a shit ton of damage. The Sylvanas daggers is so good. Try and see if you can get one. It will definitely be worth getting. And then you pretty much know everything you need to know about like gearing your sub-rogue and all the little things you can do for the Mythic Plus dungeons. Alrighty guys, here let's start with the talents that you will be playing here as your sub-rogue for Mythic Plus. So the first talent you want to be using is Weapon Master. Second one is Shadow Focus. Weapon Master and Shadow Focus are really good because you gain a lot more energy regen, which you will be needing as we won't be playing Master of Shadows. Weapon Master is just primarily the best pick of these. Then we want to play Deep Australian for immense amounts of extra damage. We want to be playing Cheat Death, Soothing Darkness, or Loosen to Death. Pretty much up to you. Primarily, I'd go with Cheat Death. I feel like that is the most useful use talent if you have a healer. Next up, Pray in the Weak. Pray in the Weak, a lot seem to be underestimating the power of Pray in the Weak. Pray in the Weak helps all your team do extra damage to priority targets, which is insanely good. Enveloping Shadows is a must. Electricity and Dark Shadows doesn't really gain enough since we have the extra charge of Shadow Dance, and we're just like lowering the cooldown by way too much, so Dark Shadows really loses a lot of value. Then we're going to play Shuriken Tornado, which is one thing that we haven't been played a lot. Shuriken Tornado allows for some extremely fun and good burst scenarios for our sub-rogue here whenever we are doing large packs. Also allows a bit extra damage here in single targets if used correctly. It is a quite expensive ability to press, so you want to really manage your energy well when using this so you don't end up getting starved. Generally, you want to press Shuriken Tornado, and then you want to press Symbols after, so you get some energy back so you can start dropping those combo points that you're going to be funneling up. And for the Covenants, we might as well take that one while we're at it. We're going to play Ventfear, and ideally, you want to play Theotar, and you want to go like this here. And instead of Deeper Daggers here, you want to make, or instead of Well-Placed Steel, you want to take Deeper Daggers. Obviously, that's the sub one. You want to play Planned Execution here instead. I use Theotar primarily for PvP, so I usually do it like this. If I'm pushing a really high key, I'll swap them around. Otherwise, we will be playing Draven, where we'll be using pretty much the same thing. I'll take Build for War instead of Planned Execution, as it's not that high on my list. And Build for War also does a really nice effect here in terms of getting more damage. But generally, Theotar is the best option. For legendaries, we want to be using the Obedience one with our Ventfear Covenant. So when it comes to stat priority, you want to go pretty much a certain route, as stat priority is really important for Mythic Plus, especially when you're squeezing out that extra little bit of damage. You want to prioritize crit and verse, then you'll get mastery, then just a little bit of haste. You do not want more than, let's say, 5% haste. That's the sweet spot, and then you just put everything you can into crit and into verse. More crits, more combo points, more verse, more damage, more mastery, also more damage. Haste, you're not really gonna rely on haste to fuel your energy, and it doesn't really improve your damage in terms of AoE or your finishes, which is where your primary damage comes from. Just give you a little bit of extra regen, which is why we want a little bit of haste, but generally we want to avoid it as much as possible until that 5%, because those 5% actually matters a little bit. Instead of what we want to do here, whenever we are like lacking energy, we want to manage it correctly. So you're going to feel energy starved when playing your sub rogue, but if you manage it well, you won't need to take more haste and lose damage to make up for that missing energy. And that is one of the things that I'll cover later on here. So managing energy, keep that in mind, that is really important. Alright guys, here, so as a sub rogue, there is a lot of different ways in different situations in Mythic Plus Dungeon you can optimize your damage. So for this particular video here, I'm just going to cover the very basics and then how you optimize your burst. Because what really sets you apart from the good sub rogues and the bad sub rogues is bursting and managing your cooldowns and not making the roguey mistakes that I've made like at least 17 times by Symbols of Deathing at almost max energy, then pressing Shuriken Tornado, dropping down energy, and then just not having enough energy to use those finishes. So I'm gonna show you slowly what buttons to press and explain it how you go around the burst. But first, I'll cover the just basic theory. If you have enough targets to fill up your combo points, all you want to do is Shuriken Storm and Black Powder. Shuriken Storm, Black Powder. It's really efficient DPS here. Of course, you want to press your symbols and your shadow dances whenever needed. So try and optimize so you use those at the start of a pull where you have a lot of fresh targets and you can do a lot of damage. So for the burst, right? After we just explain the lower targets. So if you have like around 3 targets, you want to bleed up with Rapture, get your combo points up and bleed them, and you want to maintain Slice and Dice. And then you want to think about like, okay, you don't want to Shadow Strike with more than 3 targets. 3, it's kind of like, is it priority damage you need to do? Then you want to Shadow Strike. If not, then you can just Shuriken Storm up those combo points. If in Shadow Dance, you always Shadow Strike with 2 less targets. So, just a little bit of the tips. If you want, I'll leave it down in the comment, and I'll cover this in much more detail, because it's basically different from depending on how many targets you have as a sub-rogue. So, yeah, tell me in the comments and I'll get that going for you. So the burst here, I'm going to show this very slowly and explain it. So it's not going to look to exactly how well it should be done, but the burst should be done kind of like the following here. So we have flagellation, we have shadow blades. So shadow blade, flagellation, and trinkets, that is the first thing we want to do. Then we want to make sure we activate Shuriken Tornado and Symbols of Death Shadow Dance. That's the second one. Then we want to spam Shuriken's Black Powder, not Shuriken Storm. We want to like use those combo points to finish us. So ideally you get some combo points up. Press Fletch and Trinket. Right? And then we press... And then we spam these finishers here. And I do actually believe I missed the global there. But it's kind of hard like when you're explaining it. And then you just keep pumping it. And like just here with no party buffs or anything, not even poisons on, we're like doing around 17k DPS here in our little burst. Fletch is really a strong cooldown, especially because all the extra verse it gives us with the legendary. It's really big, and the cooldown is fairly low if you have a lot of targets and utilize your Shuriken Tornado correctly. So absolutely a pumping amount of burst here as a sub-rogue you can do. And yeah, this is gonna cover pretty much the end of the video here, so it doesn't, before it gets too long. I think a dude called Killer Chris has something to say here before we end it completely. Alright guys, yeah, thanks for watching the video here to the end. Hope you are gonna have some great Mythic Plus dungeons here. I'm likely going to be doing some specific dungeon run based guides. I'll go for a dungeon. I'll cut out all the fluff in between that you don't need to see, and I'll explain how I play in the dungeon, what I did wrong, what I can do better, and what you can do to improve yourself in those specific scenarios. So 19-20 keys, anyone? Ooh, not that high, maybe higher. We'll see what you guys want to do. Also, don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe for more good content, check out the RL content that I'm doing as well, and the gaming based content. Check out all the links below to social medias and Patreon. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Peace.